Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Right here, 1975 standard Beetle, and it is a Fuelie. And you may be asking yourself, this thing looks too good to be on your channel. Well, it is. I don't like shiny things, and well, this one's really nice. Backstory is, as far as I'm gonna make it up right now, because I can't remember the full thing, is it got restored like this, and then driven for a bit, and then parked for a while. Inconsequential story hour. Immediately, I gotta start paying attention to words, because I do not, clearly. But anywho's and ways, it is here because it's a runnability issue. The car does start. It still has a fuel injection, I said that, but car still has the Fuelie system in it. It will start, but that's about all it does. Unless you pin it to the mat, it doesn't, well, stay running. Full disclosure, I did a little bit of diagnosing already, and I think the runnability issue is down to a unmonitored error. If you don't know, these fuel injection systems, well, the flapper door on the mass airflow sensor, whatever you want to call it, tells the injection how to inject by the air that's being metered, and well, if you have a vacuum leak, it can't meter it, so pretty much runs lean and then goes dead. Caveat, that's what I think is going on right now. It is a crapshoot of that diagnostic. So, without further ado, sausage, delicious. Join me in the back. I'll fake like it's the first time I'm diagnosing this thing, so then we can move into the repair. Also, I don't know, again, full disclosure, I don't know if what I'm about to do is going to fix the issue, because I need this issue fixed before I go any further, if that makes any sense. So, join me in the back. Starter switch hooked up, little bump button to rotate it over, and I got a screwdriver in the throttle so I can, whom, 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 whum, whum. It's gonna be hard to see because, well, fuel injection, and I'm not taking this engine cover off. I say that now, but I'm not taking this engine cover off. But what our leaks are these boots. What the hell was that? Typical air-cooled engines, you have the little the rubber boots for dual ports, and you got clamps. These are just slide fits. So when they start to go, well, you can't tighten them, unfortunately. So you spray, spray carb cleaner or anything flammable on it, or at least when the engine's running, and it'll rev up. Or at least I was getting it to rev up without hitting the gas. And that means this should be working, and it's reading the air, like I said, the air that's coming into the system. Let me lower this. It's reading the, correct amount of air that it thinks is getting into the system, so it's basically leaning the engine out. It can't compensate for massive air leaks, so it's not giving it more fuel, for, I guess, lack of better terms on that one. I do have another door, a good test door that I know about, or that I have. That I might be able to do something with, but let's see. Let me turn it on and see if I'll be able to start it with the bump button back here. now it's running super rich. So I'm thinking that cold port or cold start injector's doing something. Plug it. There we go. That's the rev up I was talking about. The door's working. All right, let me shut this down. And what does a hot start do? Yeah. All right. Cooperated a lot longer than it did for me this time than it did last time. Basically, it's firing up immediately and falling on its face. I did push in this connector. Not saying that I bumped it loose, but it was loose. That could have been a huger air leak. But digressing, regressing, with spraying in, it does change the idle. So we do have unmonitored air going into this. So with that said, we have to fix this. It is running. Yeah, like I said, I think I might have a vacuum leak somewhere. This nub that goes to the oil filter, instead of a road draft tube, this thing looked like it was bop loose or not installed all the way. So that could have been the issue. But knowing we have a air leak, we're changing that out because it currently has an inconsistent run. Also, fuel line over here, it leaks. So we got to fix that, which is good because we got to take all this stuff off anyway. I guess now that I got it hot, let's start taking this thing apart. How much oil's in it? Some. This thing also has a pretty bad rear main leak. It's currently not leaking, but yeah, I had to clean up a huge mess under this thing. But all right, so like I said, the car runs. Can it run better? Yes, and that is the point of this thing. The owner just wanted to basically get a tune-up, and well, thinking that would solve it, but because we have unmonitored air going in, it's a little more than a tune-up. But like I said, the good thing is we know it works. We know this is working, or at least monitoring air, because when I poke it, it will change the idle. And these are, I would say, tunable to a certain extent. There's an air bypass screw under here that you can control and regulate. But yeah, all it is there's a door in here that opens and shuts and moves like basically a rheostat, like a fuel float, kind of, if you can envision what the hell that looks like. Sweeps it and it tells basically the engine how much fuel it's getting. So I can, let me think, to bypass, close this. If I close this, it should, I'll do it on mine, but hold on. Yeah, I can move that. If I close this, it should pull more air through, which should give me a better reading. And again, this box does look like it's been opened. Usually when you see RTV around it, they've been opened before. Let me grab mine. I'm gonna put that away, put that over there so that, you know, if I don't break it. Like I said, mine is a known good unit, and this one also has been opened, but this one does do its job just as well. That's the flapper door I'm talking about. It just opens and closes. Case in point, I'll mess with mine. We're half in, so I want to get more airflow through this, the choke tube, so I'll give it a half turn in. And this is the exact same unit. You know, this, when I swapped it, this was possibly pop that out. But yeah, and I could touch that airflow thing right there. Well, let's see what it does with a, stop. See what it does with mine that I can mess with. That shouldn't really have revved up when I moved this. This plug's all wrapped up in the fuel line for the cold start injector, which is still unplugged. Plug that back in. Yeah, this hose is what was questionable. Just want to get some slop in it. So by that, I can screw screw it in, tell it it's getting more air into the system. That's what that screw's for. I'm not going to do that because I'm assuming that box is calibrated. I know. Just turn in the screws. Do a tune-up, kick it out the door. No. No, I'm not going to do that. The reason I'm not going to do that is, well, I showed there is a vacuum leak. By me I'm telling it has more air, so it is sort of giving it more fuel, but it's not running correctly. If that makes any sense to people. They're pretty simple to change out. Pull the injector rails off, pull the intake manifolds off. I'll show you on the other engine. Because I have a locked up fuel the engine. Because I'm a hoarder. All right, yeah, they're pretty simple. Pull off your injectors. You got 2 bolts like a normal, car. Slide that tube out, replace that, slide it back in. Other side's more, well, it's about the same. It's the same process. It's just more of a pain in the butt just due to the fact that everything's hiding behind this. And you may ask, why do I have a locked up, it is a deadlocked engine? Well, that's because if I ever need parts or testing parts, we have them. And this was a running engine before it, seized. Oil pump went out on it, hot seized on the bearings. Not my fault. I bought the whole shooting match for $200, so I am happy with the deal because I have a diagnostic engine. That $200 investment has saved me a countless amount of money, and basically eating the cost of things. So, with that said, let this thing cool down a bit, and well, start external resistor. This is a points engine. That ballast could be giving a problem as well. It is the wrong ballast for this car, or not ballast, coil. It needs internal resistance or ballast resistor, and I do not see a ballast resistor anywhere. So yeah, that's the thing. Okay, well we'll fix that. So new coil, and then yeah, I'll start pulling this thing apart and getting intakes done. These are like I said, these are to me a bit simpler than Beetles. You have to take apart more stuff, but less stuff all at the same time. That doesn't make sense. The other thing is, if I can't dial, because I showed you, I dialed mine in to get this thing to run. If I can't dial that one in to get this thing running, hopefully like I said, it ran. The big reason I'm changing this stuff out is because it ran and then didn't. So unless like a hard component failed, like the mass airflow, something else failed, there's no reason I should touch anything because it ran. So that's where my thing is. If I have to do a little adjustment after it's running because it might not meet my tier, that's one thing. But to automatically just say cheat the system by turning that screw, I'm not a fan with. Now, if I didn't know this was a running engine and I knew it was fresh, safe, a rebuilt engine, that's one thing. Man, for a rebuilt, I don't know when because it's quite soupy in here. See, injector clips. At least we got clips on most of these components. I did pull the clip off of the mass airflow. It's actually hanging up here. Just because, the cold start didn't have one. But yeah, typically these little spring clips, they go away. And, well, then stuff likes to do whatever it wants. All right, let me let this thing cool down a bit. And I'll start pulling this thing apart. Should be, like I said, it's fairly straightforward. I'll start on that side. I'll start on that side because, well, it's the more convenient of the sides. I'm also going to run new fuel line. Maybe. Fuel line looks good. I'm going to switch out the clamps. Yeah, nothing looks dry rotted or anything like that. So, yeah, dual push-pull distributor is attached. Yeah, like I said, I think it was done correctly. I'm just rambling at this point, killing time. But, yeah, it's warm. I think it was rebuilt correctly. It does need a tune-up or a valve job. I can hear it chattering mainly on this side, which isn't really a big deal, but it will aid it. It will hurt runnability a little bit. Not that much, though. I say this in all my videos. If you have fuel injection and it works, keep it. It's cheaper to say keep your fuel injection than it is to do a carb swap. Now, if you have a revival fuel injection, also it's going to be easier because there's no tarboard in this car, which is nice. If you have non-running fuel injection, you start to play the game, and I've had it on my channel before. There's a green convertible bug. Tried to save the fuel injection, just couldn't do it. It had too many bad systems on it. The harness was bad. So it basically turned into, you're going to be more money to keep the injection than not. I'm hoping to keep this injection and get the owner out for a much more reasonable price than doing a conversion, because conversion would be expensive. How do I want to do this? I'm going to take the injectors off with the... do I want to take the... Here's my dilemma is, do I want to pull the injectors with the manifold or without? Mainly the O-rings. So I pull them out and the O-rings are bad. I got to order O-rings because I know I don't have them. They look a little dry rotted. Decisions. And the engine is clean. I don't know what that wire does. Again, I'm just letting this thing cool down a bit. I don't know what level of rebuild this thing was. It has a new exhaust pipe. I mean, push rod tubes are leaking pretty bad. I'll show you when we go under this, and, well, that oil leak hasn't shown up yet. Maybe it's a transmission leak. I have a new spot in the floor to find a leak. But I'd say this thing was maybe rebuilt. Yeah, like I said, there is a valve train leak. Those push rod tube seals are, well, they're leaking. This is, again, why at RTV I'm just safe, easiness or whatever, or niceness. Longevity. I feel it adds longevity to the seal versus just putting them in dry. They work dry, don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you can hedge your bets, you hedge your bets. I'm not a purist. All right, let's start ripping this thing apart. Let me grab some tools. I'm gonna need like a 10 and a 13. Probably the next day, because it's gonna be warmer tomorrow. And the engine's gonna be cooler tomorrow. But, I don't know, rambling. But right now, I want to see what our, as I constantly call it, why it's door knocking. Oh yeah, that oil looks good. At least we got oil coming out. Maybe the engine's a little warmer than I thought. I don't know how much oil was in the system. Oh wow, yeah, okay. Exhaust 1. There, put my mic up. Now, it's a magnet. That's intake 1. Intake 2. And intake 3 is closed. Or exhaust 2 is closed. All right, this side of the engine is completely cold. Like, I mean, I'm physically touching it. Why do we have an entire dead side? And I can check for. All right, that feels all right. Yeah, this side, warm, not gonna touch. This side, no heat. Heat, no heat. Let me. 1, 4, 3, 2. Did I get the firing order backwards? I'm gonna let this drip a little bit and double check. But I double checked and it wasn't that bad. That could explain the rock. This is 4 I screwed up. I screwed up. Yep, sure did. So 1, 4. Yeah, I got 3 and 4 backwards. I wonder if 3 and 4 are backwards to begin with. I wish I had the other footage. But all right, get the car back in the air. Let me adjust valves real quick. Just go through them, get them tighter, and we'll refire this thing and see if it's any better. Because it was not. It didn't want to run yesterday, worth the crap. And other than just running it, I'm wondering if stuff's waking up because this car has been, say, sitting. Also, the only difference from yesterday at the air bleed and today running is I disconnected the spark plug wires. Again, I could have mixed them up, but they could have been like this. I don't know if I cut footage to have some footage or not. But yeah, it's weird that it's running currently. Because, well, like I said, it's here because it doesn't or didn't. So I'm a little puzzled. Let me do some valves real quick. Like any Beetle, set them to 6, call it good. Look up my other videos or just whatever you want. Nothing's out of the ordinary. The bottom end of this engine is the exact same as the fuel injection. That's different for the most part. So let me run through these valves. I'll be right back. Nothing spectacular happened with the valves. They're on though, or well, obviously they're on, but they're installed. What I want to do now is change out this coil. It's a non-resistive coil. You need a resistor in here. Also, well, for 2 reasons. Not to burn up the points reason number A. And letter number 2 is you, brain function, please. Reason number 2 is I don't know what side effects this thing would have with the injection system. But yeah, the coil that's on here, well, I'll show you after I get it off. The coil that's on here is I gotta change the battery. You need an external voltage regulator, ballast resistor, whatever you want to call it. You need that thing. This car currently does not have that thing, so I don't want to take the chance of, say, burning up a system because of it, of not having said thing. If I knew how to put a bouncing ball across the bottom of the screen so you could follow what the hell I just said, I would, but I don't. So imagine a little rubber ducky floating across the bottom of the screen with the word salad that I just formulated. Come on, fat fingers. Not to. Get off. Thank you. And I'm going to have to unplug everything. Maybe not. Maybe not. I just want it on enough to get that loose. Yes. Boink, boink. All right. What I was going on about is I can't read. Use without external resistor. I thought that this was the correct coil. Well, shit. He's getting a new one anyway. I don't know if that one's bad. I'm not going to charge him for this because, well, I'm an idiot. You get a free coil. I know he watches this channel. I'm doing process of elimination, guys, at this point. Ahmed, you know, dyslexia is real. Thought it said use with external coil. Use without, yeah. I'm a dumb. It wasn't the same color I like to run. I'm going with that. Here comes the rain. Check out that. Negative to the points. I honestly hate the way these things fit because I hit this wire. But it is what it is. I might end up moving it just for my own peace of mind. So I don't want to play around with a washer. That's my choice. Focus. Okie dokies. I don't know if those valve covers are going to leak, to be honest with you. I just kind of slapped them on. How much oil do we actually have? Full enough to run. It's under the line, but I'm not going to fill it because I know I'm going to drain it. All right. Are we on the locks? Probably. Probably not. Probably not. Good. All right, let's try this again. Key on. Correct firing order this time. Watch. It'll run better. And I wouldn't know why. Throttle screwdriver. Shit. Where the hell did it go? On the floor. I like it because it just wedges in here. Try this again. Fire no. Quiet. All right, it's coming off idle. We might be able to catch what I was talking about. All right, that's what it was doing yesterday. One thing I can do, which it's not revving up like it was yesterday, but what I can do, and I found out, is, hold on, fire this up again. I'm playing with the air flap. The door that's in there. You know what? I think the air leak fixed itself. This thing sucks. There's a screw here that you can adjust. This door might be out of limits. It's about where I have my screwdriver. It's happy. Actually, this side's worse now. All right. There. That's what I was trying to show. Turn that thing off. All right, that's what I was trying to show. Happy the car didn't call me a complete liar. Those boots, these boots, the boots, they're leaking. They're not leaking that bad, though. Like, you have to kind of force it to do stupid. The fuel leak looks like it fixed itself, which I don't like when things fix themselves, especially fuel. All right, plan. We have plans now. I think it is not a major leak. It was that hard for me to get it to do something, I guess is what I'm getting at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the box if I have adjustment in the box, because sometimes they're already adjusted out all the way. Let me see what I can get out of this thing. Half, one, half, two. All right, I'm two out. We're going to see if this changed anything. Because if it's simple as this, here comes rain, yay. All right, let's try this again. That was 2. Let me adjust it some more. It was just a quick squall. Comes on fast, leaves you fast. All right, that was 2. The worst thing about this is, well, because these brackets, you can't really tune them on the car. All right, this port is completely shut now. Only had another turn in it. Or half a turn. So, we're going to see what happens. Connect everything up again. Plug in. I'm not even going to attach that. Well, let's see what happens. I don't think it's going to have enough in it. I lied. Don't get your screwdriver stuck. That idle screws all the way in right now. So we are fighting a vacuum leak. It shouldn't really be running right now. It's not bad. I can smell it's on the richer side. Take the oil cap off. Yeah, induced a huge vacuum leak, by the way. All right, well, through bumbling around, like I typically do, close that screw, which it shouldn't be closed, but close that screw. I'm going to call the owner and tell him that it runs. Sounds pretty okay. Needs a tune-up, so plugs, wires, so on and so forth. But it does run, which is the big thing, huge thing. I'm going to ask him, because I know that's not say correct. I'm going to ask him if he won't. It's runnable. It's not going to hurt it. And also, honestly, smelling that it's rich, I'm more comfortable running it this way than if it was lean, because lean will blow up an engine quick. Rich, not so much. Fuel line has to be replaced on this side. Everything else looks good. But does he want to save some bucks and just go ahead with the tune-up and see what happens? Because, like I said, I wouldn't be afraid to run this. I guess is what I'm getting at. Nothing to me is detrimental, like it's going to explode, other than fuel leak, but that's something different. So yeah, let me make that phone. I'll make that phone call and I'll get back to you, because if I don't have to open this up, you're saving a good chunk of money. And like I said, I'll give it a bill of health, but also keep it on the back burner in your think hole that if it starts to run funny, I'm out of tuning and it's going to have to be opened up, I guess is what I'm getting at. But also running it, these seals might come around. And, well, it might run the opposite way and run worser. Put another nut on that airbox. I'd rather see, again, these cars on the road, safely, than try to nickel and dime everybody out of absolutely everything. Could I do that? Yes, but at the end of the day, would this car be on the road? I'm not going to say it would, not going to say it wouldn't be. But if it doesn't need to be, if you can, okay, it sounds bad. If you can kick the repair down the road, like I said, I have the parts to do it. If you could if you could kick the repair down the road and it's not going to detrimentally hurt anything, I'm okay with kicking the frog on its butt when it hops, or whatever the hell that saying is. So I'll make that phone call, because full disclosure, he's saving more than a couple $100 for me to open this thing up, which is good for pocket, the old pocketbook. Because I know he did want a couple other things done to this thing, cosmetic-ish. And if I can save some money here, I can make it up on the other side, if that makes any sense. Or the owner can get more bang for his buck. But like I said, if this thing starts to act funny, again, I always, I'm a casino, and my patrons are gamblers. How much do you want to gamble on what you have going on, I guess is what I'm getting at. Because I can't adjust this anymore. Also, not saying this thing's reading 100% correctly, but I have no more adjustment in this. The other thing is a vacuum leak. We know that. It's mainly this side, but they can come around. This car has sat for a while, and after I talk to him, I'll have a conversation with words, because I don't know how to listen, apparently. Said no one ever. I am the most attentive person ever. But all right, let's try another hot start. I'm really curious if this thing was only honestly running on the 2 cylinders, and I was able to find that side because other plug wires were switched. I mean, legitimately, what more do you want? And surprisingly enough, the valve cover on that side's not leaking. More on this side. I did a thing, and it didn't equal a leak or glue. I was expecting to have to go back in there, to be honest with you. Another thing that, let me shut this off again. Another reason this car could be running a little rich is the cold start injector can be leaking, but it is working. Or I'm assuming it's working. If you didn't know there's a cold start injector, I think I have one on the other engine. Hold it, please. I have a good battery in here, I think, but I didn't want to lose whatever I just recorded. There's a cold start injector on top of these engines, right here. They leak and tend to, or they can leak and run rich, basically because you're just introducing raw fuel into the engine. But yeah, this coupler is what's leaking air, and then the one behind the alternator on that side. And then this fuel line on this side was leaking. It's not leaking anymore. But knowing I have a leak, knowing there was a leak, I don't feel comfortable not seeing it currently, letting the car go without it, or with that aspect. So, didn't drop recording. So, all right, let me make some phone calls, and I'll get back to you. But as of right now, I feel comfortable saying the car is good. Like, I don't have to open it up and I can save you some bucks. And you might want to do something else, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, let me make some phone calls. Again, I have the worst business motto ever. I was locked in to get more money. And I'm not taking it. I mean, granted, if he wants to do his other idea, I will make money. But I mean, it's not that. I don't know. I talk too much. I really do. Don't follow me for financial advice. I am not the goodest at it. All right. It's going to get a tune-up. We're doing electronics. We're doing a oil change, fixing some fuel lines, general stuff. The valves are already done, so check that one off the list. Unless they decide to leak later, that's fine. But they're good now, and it sounds good. All right, I'll be back. I got to stop words. Guys, it's been a few days, but I did talk to the owner. I actually talked to the owner the night I said I was going to. Waiting on parts. This is the direction we're going to head. I'm going to replace the passenger side intake, and driver side intake tube. I did put clamps on it. I don't know if you can see in there. Just to see if I can lessen the air leak, and it's in the boot itself. I did manage to squeak some on the driver's side or passenger side. There are clamps on that side. That side, I can't get the idle to change. This side is very noticeable when I still do the juice test. So we'll replace that, and I'm gonna replace, like I said, the clamps on the injectors here because, number one, they're not high pressure. Not that this is really high pressure, but they are leaking. I'm also going to replace the cold start injector hose fuel line, just because it looks like they ran out of line when they put it on. So it's really, you can tell it's really tight and just pulling everything. So let me start tearing this thing down. We'll start with the intake tube and work our way from there. Everything else is kind of, I guess, we'll get replaced. Everything will get replaced as we're working on it, just because these systems have to come apart to get these things apart. Yeah, worm clamps, they do work. It's not like it's like a million PSI that this stuff's holding. But I do enjoy using the fuel injection clamps. In fact, that's pretty much the only clamp I stock. It gives me the warm and fuzzies, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Plus, it doesn't damage the hose. It doesn't, cut into it like a typical worm clamp does. Oh, I may have to replace all these lines. I don't want to do that. It's like all these lines are ran too short. I'm wondering if that's why we had premature failure out of this injector. Also, this injector seemed to have stopped leaking. So it could have been leaking due to lack of use. But I noticed it's leaking. It's fuel in an engine bay. So we are going to fix it. And it was number 3. So number 3 is the hotter of the cylinders usually. So, in other words, I'm not going to try to find out. Cold start. Like I said, the other side seems to have been, doing its thing okay, so I'm not too concerned about it. But yeah, all these lines are just like super short. Which, I mean, technically doesn't go anywhere, but I like a little strain relief, especially on like nozzles. I would say I'd replace, I would be replacing all of these, except they're in still good condition. They're pliable, they're soft. They're not, say, a leak risk to me. Or I don't consider them to be a leak risk. Getting them off is going to be fun. Oh, yeah. I think it has old gas in it, too, still. So I will probably drain most of the tank down because it is full. I thought the fuel gauge was reading, pegged full because broken. No, it is actually that full. So I will drain fuel out of here. Or at minimum put octane boost in. Just to wake it up some more. I mean, whoever ran these lines or electrical is not my friend right now. There we go. Alright, that line's off. Yeah, like I said, worm clamps, not a fan of. Alright. And once we get the manifold off, then I can, then I'll redo that, P-Y horsey thing, I guess. I get to struggle to get those clips off. I'm gonna grab a pick. I don't think I have one over here. I think it's in my other room. Forgot to hit record. It just has those spring clips on it. Hook it, pull it back, pull your injector up, and then reset that clip immediately. Because if you don't, well, it's gonna go freaking flying. Or you're gonna end up losing it. All right. It's like no one tightened these manifolds. So that's actually a good thing. Because I know when I put those cross tubes on, the intake boots on, this is going to help as well. And this on these. It was tighter than the other side. Or than the front one. Pull up and wiggle. Snake this guy out. Take the clamps off. Fuel. Oh, cruddy. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get a brake clean and clean this stuff up. Someone was a big fan of the shellac because that's all, what, Indian head stuff? Yeah, we're gonna replace these two with injector clamps, and obviously this boot. Oh man, hold on. I don't know if the crackly popped up, but yeah, this one's done. It's damn near plastic on the inside too. Other side's working. There's holding. We're leaving it. All right, let me change out these two guys. At least the clamps on them, because they don't look damaged or anything like that. But you can see how I'm actually going to choke it down some. I don't know if it'll pick up, but the cracks. There are, focus. I only have two hands. Now, take my word. There's cracks starting to form on this injector, right where it necks in. So, I'll cut it down some and reinstall. They still are, soft. Problem is you can't replace them because they're one of them cool crimp fits. So, we'll leave that alone. But yeah, let's change this out real quick and I'll be right back to you. I might run to the store and grab some brake clean because I want to clean all this up. I'm back from O'Reilly's. Brake clean, so on and so forth. Number 4 looks good. Number 3, a little more caramely, but looks good. But I'm just systematically tearing this thing apart. Intake's already on this side, but I am ripping out, like I said, all these fuel lines. The crossover line's going to go new. So this side, this side. And the injector to the feed line, that weird T, that'll be new, and then the cold start injector will be new. Like I said, these worm clamps, man, they I'll just show you on this hose. They just bite into these things, and well, I don't like using them for injection. Good news is, I mean, this is a Goodrich injection hose, so at least the correct parts were being used. So that's a good thing. Goodrich, Goodyear hose. But yeah, I'm just slowly, kind of the thing like, normal. Like I said, intake's on. Just got to replumb this side. I want to put the plugs in, or new plugs in, wherever I put them. And keep going. One thing I do like is they did have NGKs in them. Same ones I'm putting in, PR6HSs. So that's pretty nice. I really could have ran those plugs. They looked fine. But, well, the thing is, I'm doing stuff. Might as well do it correctly. And the only reason I'm doing it now, putting the plugs in now instead of buttoning everything up, is from all my experience of doing things, this is the first time I think I'm trying to be smart and, well, lose my plug wrench socket. That's the one I was looking for. There it is. And that's the one I got to replace it. So yeah, just like I said, systematically, we'll just replace all this stuff. Right at this point of what I'm doing, it is just, say, a general tune-up, plugs, wires, electronic ignition, so on and so forth. But like I said, we're replacing these intakes. I didn't record the install. Install is exactly the same as uninstall. Just take your time with it. The other good thing I like is I'm going to be able to clean up this wiring so it's not all weird. Or, you know, ran through everything. Give some strain relief on this stuff, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, let me do this. Oh, and I might have said it in the video, I was surprised because I just slammed those valve covers on, that they weren't leaking. Shouldn't have kept open my mouth. Driver's side's leaking. Passenger side seems okay so far. Yeah, it looks good. But I will go back and redo them. Obviously, we can't have leaky valve covers. So let me keep on doing the boring tune-up part of this. Like I said, it's just plugs and wires right now, and then I just got to button up this side, attach, you know, the injectors, plug in the injectors because we never unattached them. Plug them in and run the fuel lines. Or rerun the fuel lines. Connect the fuel. I just got to keep connecting things. And like I said, I am going to do the intake on that side. I'm this far into it. I'm this far into it. I don't want to. The last thing I want is to give a car back because something got skimped that I recommended. Or not even that. I don't want a car to leave because I said, yeah, it's fine, or it'd be good enough kind of thing, and then it catches on fire. Granted, even if I warned you it might catch on fire and you declined maintenance, you're still going to complain to me or at me. I don't want that. I will just alleviate that by trying to make everybody happy and me knowing your car's not going to explode. Or the best case scenario is to try to minimize the explosion as much as possible. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing currently. Or how I'm doing what I'm doing currently. Injectors. So, alright, let me keep doing this. Yeah, gotta attach the fuel line, the return, and then the crossover. I gotta cut a new crossover, but I gotta get this manifold off first. All right, pull the plugs. To me, running a little hot and lean on the passenger side. Or sorry, yeah, passenger side. I got that right. The freaking this side of the car, the right side of the car, and the left side, driver's side, was doing okay. Nothing bad. It's just you can maybe tell the tip color. We're a little hotter on one side. Most likely, like I said, it was running lean when we did a rev check. So I'm just assuming that. Well, I'm just going to go on that it was due to that condition. So hopefully that's remedied now, if you will. Just going to keep on plugging along. As you can tell, the intake's off. New hose has been shortened. Correct clamps put on. Just slowly making my way, doing a thing. I need this. Yeah, it's same. Take off, clean, and like I said, I don't. Morally, I would not be okay with giving this car back with just doing, say, one side. And I guess unlike other shops, I have a little bit of wiggle room just because the few bucks I make off of YouTube. I will roll that into a savings because I know I'm sort of making money, but also I'm not. Trust me, I need a lot more subscribers to account for, say, the dumb stuff I do as far as taking a hit. Because an extra 50 bucks a month isn't cutting it, and that's about what I make. And that's across all the videos. It's not just, say, this car. So, roughly, if you get in here, you have, I'm not going to say 50 bucks, but I can eat about 50 bucks of labor. But I said this before, the more subscribers I get, the more money I make, the more I can pass my savings on to you. Because I don't think of myself to be a greedy man. I know how much I want to make. And if I make over that, that's great. But also, I know how much I want to make on a, say, yearly basis. So I have wiggle room. If I only want to make, say 10 grand a year, it's not that, but 10 grand a year and I made 20, well, I'm content with the 10. Pay myself a little extra and have more money to do fun stuff for you guys. As far as, hey, I'd like to actually do this, but I can't afford it. Well, if you pay for the parts, I'll be more than happy to eat the labor because I know I'm getting paid through someone else. That all comes with people hitting subscribe and watching these videos. I try to be as fair as I can. And one of the freest things you can do to help me keep these cars on the road is, liking the video, subscribing, commenting, sharing, getting them out into the world. Because the one thing I do know is these cars are dying, as are the, say, owners, just due to the fact that we're all getting older and the younger generation doesn't like to drive manual. Don't get me wrong, there are some. I mean, I was a nut job once, but I don't know what I was getting at. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Send people this way. Like I said, the more views I get, the more money I make, the more I can potentially take a loss on a repair. Click. And not feel bad about it. Or not have to guilt trip you on your car's going to not leave. Because you didn't want to pay me money. Anyway, let me, again, continue. There's the other light. This light's terrible. I don't know where I got it from. It's like that one, just worse. I don't like that it's clicky. And the magnet's terrible as well. This whole light's terrible. But it does have a hook. But anyway, that's cleaned up. Let me just keep putting this thing back together. Got the intake. Put the intake on. We'll run the hoses, so on and so forth. And when you run it, I said this, injections use these phenolic spacers. You can't just use the normal, whatever, gasket. I don't know if that's picking up on the mic, but there was something animal dying outside. And it's been going on forever. So it's just, I think, a neglectful owner being a jackass, which is a thing. Not me. I mean, it could be me, but it's not me currently. My dog just got a sweater today. He looks like an old pensioner, if you will. He was cold. He's a pit boxer. All right, tube, boop. And then I'll put I'm just going to put clamps on. To put clamps on, it'll suck it down, and well, it's just going to stay here forever. And I lost the other clamp, but I know I had both clamps because I even said, "Hey, clamp, do a thing." Did I really lose it? Well, shit. Oh, nope, found it. All right. Like I said, let me just keep putting this thing together, and I'll get back to you. Trying to get this thing on a test drive tomorrow. I don't know how well that's going to happen. But right now, it's just do the intake points conversion, oil change. We're on the typical stretch. This is the longest part because I'm still. It takes forever because you got to run lines and stuff. Or at least I have to run lines. It's not just taking stuff apart and putting it together. I wish it was, but it's not. Because it's me, and I like making myself, challenged. Sounds about right. All right, I will be back for the next ramble. Home stretch. All the fuel lines are in. Everything's tight. Everything's out of the way, hopefully. Nothing's going to explode. Hopefully. Electronic ignition. I want to throw this thing in real quick. If I can find my screwdriver. There's nothing wrong with points. You can run points. I just don't like them. Mainly because, well, my experience is when these cars sit for, 2-3 months, a lot of times the points will foul out, the arc, what have you. And when that happens, you have problems due to the fact that the car doesn't start. Then you end up towing said car, to me, and you're going to spend X amount of dollars because diagnostic, obviously, to fix your said issue, which typically just means cleaning the points and send you on your way. I don't like doing that. When they're in here, when cars come in, usually you just leave with an electronic ignition. Now, if you are a purist, don't get me wrong, I am more than happy to leave in your points. I don't have anything against them. I just have everything against them. I decipher that word salad as you will. The lock plate behind here that actually holds the points plate is a pain in the butt sometimes to get off. I don't care. It's the only thing I don't mind, say, breaking. By breaking, I mean bending back. There we go. To get the condenser out. It doesn't do any damage. You don't screw anything up. Put this lock plate back in. For the vacuum diaphragm. If I can walk and chew gum at the same time by holding all this. Gently, easy, faster, but slower, all at the same time. There we go. Vacuum plate down. I did see that this thing moved when I was dicking around with it. Yep. This is a dual advance system. So it has advance and a go backwards to it. Electronic module. Need one screw. That can go there. Boop, boop. Set that up. Electronics. Put this into its home. Oh shit. Come back. Well, I had it set up and then I just died. It fell out. Doesn't matter. Connected. Let's see if this thing lights off. I'm gonna have to change the battery soon. Let's see how it runs. Oh, also see how many fuel leaks we have. Eon. Still have my button back here, so that's good. Now it's gonna probably take some cranking, but we'll find out. Or not. Fuel. No. Well, I was short-lived. Plugged in. Door's obviously moving. That's plugged in. Plugged in. Sensor's plugged in. That's plugged in. That's plugged in. It's not that. We know this. Yeah, trying to orchestrate only having one hand. It's kind of bad. Weird. Just want to snug this guy up. But yeah, it's running like it was. Well, kind of to begin with. Fires up, starts, dies. Fires up, starts, dies. Plugged in, plugged in. Well, the injectors are correct, otherwise it wouldn't fire correctly. Vacuum line plugged in. It's like I have a big vacuum leak somewhere. That's connected. That's on. That's on. This was that. I doubt that would have caused that, but I don't know. I've seen weirder things. Let's try this again. Oh! Like I said, these things are very finicky when it comes to having air leaks. See, it's back to its original. This is the original reason it came in here. It would start and die, and you'd have to keep giving it gas to keep it running. Now I don't know what the hell happened. Come on, car. This looks like we're doing diagnostic all over again. what I did. That should have took off. This is massive. It's the door. It's not dooring correctly. We already have that jam screw all the way in. Oh. Turn that off. I'm wondering if this airflow sensor actually is bad. All right, battery's still gonna die, but I think I might have found it. My door's on. It's in this damn nipple. Because if I hold it, it also does wrong with my box. All right, there's two fittings. There's one here and there's one in the back. What I'm gonna do is what I don't recommend completely, but I'm gonna do it because this boot, oh, wow, this boot's split. All right. Okay, all right. I found it. I'm happy I put my finger there. I'm going to order another. They make these. I'm going to order another one. But I'm assuming it'll work with the other one. But yeah, my door works. Phillips. This is the problem with rubbery plastic components. When they get old, they have problems. There we go. Boink. Or that boot is split. So I'm going to do the right thing, glue it, and order another one. Battery's really going to die. Join me in the morning. All right, it's not the morning. Just prying through this thing, there's also a huge rip right there. So, with that being said, that one's completely junk, and I am not gluing it. But what I am going to do, let's see. We have this thing wide open. Let's back it off. Half, one, half. And if I got to take this thing on and off like 3,000 times, I don't care. That's on. This is my boot, or yeah, my boot off of my engine, which sucks because it's better, but worse, as far as it's not pliable anymore. Heat gun. That needs to go on. All right, let's try this. Like I said, it was running like a huge vacuum leak. Now I should be able to tune this door. Oh, that hose fell off. That'll be another huge vacuum leak. That's good. put that on, put this on. Just stay. Needs a boot. Everything is just there. All right, and I can't test drive it with my boot. Oh, I mean, I can. Do I have hose? So I'm gonna have to remake a lot more line to go where it needs to go. I'm gonna have to order some vapor line and stuff. Let me unplug that because that's under a lot of stress. I do not want to break wiring. All right, so yeah, intake boot is shat. It's probably just, you know, it's probably like that, and I had it, was probably at one point pinched together, and I mean, rotated. I can still, man, I put urethane on it. But yeah. Split there, and the split in that neck is what's really screwing everything up. Like I said, vacuum leaks, man, these things are very sensitive, and I'm running out of memory card. All right, I'll be back with some ramble of whatever the hell I'm doing, but I gotta get one of those on order. There's our problem. Well, another one of our huge problems. All right, guys, I was editing this video, so the ending is not what I expected it to be. I noticed a few things. Actually, one major thing. This thing does not have a decel valve. Where it is, I don't know. It's supposed to mount up here, runs from this line to where a decel valve is. And well, I think the reason I can't get this thing to idle or cooperate with the idling, or I know one of the reasons, is because it is, here, I'll show you. We're looped. So crankcase is going straight up into here. So basically the IAC, which should give you, say, cold start, higher revs, so on and so forth, and decel, well, that's not working because we're looped. And the reason, I think I said it in the video, the reason I have this idle screw is all the way in, and I cannot get this engine idle any lower. That is in. What I'm gonna do, let me fire it up real quick and show you what I was talking about. It doesn't sound it, but it's running at about 12 to 1500, and it will not come down. That screws in all the way. I should be able to dial this thing back. It's too high of an idle. Well, obviously, here, hold on. Boop. Watch, it's gonna call me a liar right now. Well, yeah, 1500, 1470, and that screws all the way in. Sorry if you can't read that. So, what I'm gonna do is, well, the correct thing. We're gonna take off this line, boop, which is nothing more than, it's just pumping. It's doing the same thing as this one. This is going from the air, you know, whatever, oil filter back to the back of the tube. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cap this side, cap down here. So now this air valve is just going to do air valve things. So it should idle, hopefully lower than what it is currently, just by capping that, because it's not getting, say, air injection. Or it might not start. There we go. That cap, now that valve could be open currently. Well, it is not. Just by capping that, we're at 1760. So what I'm gonna do, knowing that this cutoff's all the way in, I can raise it and bring the RPMs up. Back that down just a little more. A little too low. I think we got an air leak on that valve. Yeah, right around 1,000, fluctuating up and down. But there we go. Now it's dialed, or dialed or in. Yeah, 1090. I don't know if that shows up. 1080, 1090. So yeah, no injector, is just basically letting crankcase pressure breathe in this entire time. Oh. Does the heat work? I have no idea. Oh, it wouldn't work because I don't have it connected. All right. Hot start. That sounded like it was going to die. Let me try it again. I lied, it just came on idle. There we go. Now, let me shut this thing off. All right, now I will close out this video. Yeah, problem I was having with dialing this thing in, and a lot of the runnability issues is I'd fix one issue, create another one. Fix another issue, create another one. It's a lot of, chasing your butt for the most part. We start working on cars that, haven't ran in a while. Big thing was that started, that I don't think I had in the video, is I did put a hose clamp on this valve, or on this line, which goes to the IAC down here, air control, whatever you want to call it, because it's all filleted open. When I patched that, we started having issues, because now we had more air coming in here. Basically, I've said this, and I'll recap this in my outro. When you fix one issue, these cars, okay, wait, scratch that. These cars will run broke. When you fix one issue, you might develop 6 more others. So if this car was always, say, tuned for running crappily, and you're slowly fixing things, it's going to run better, or more say systems are coming online that are reading accurate to where you're going to start fighting other issues. And trust me, you don't want to keep fighting issues. That hose is very inconsiderate. I'm going to have to reroute that. It's pinching these wires a little more than I like. So, but yeah, all my hoses, everything like that. This neck, I do have an order. But it's going to leave like this, or I'll test drive it like this, because I don't have a cold start valve. I don't think I have one of my spare stuff, but even if I did, I'm not going to run one. Not cold start, decel valve. This box does have like the pop it for if it'll be fine. I guess is what I'm getting at. So with that said, let me close this video out. It is running, it is idling. Like I said, we had clog this, clog that, because all this is direct. You get crankcase pressure coming up into here, and it's just basically breathing, or it's an air leak, lack of better terms. So that's why I couldn't get this thing to idle the way I wanted to idle, or idle down anymore. The box I did turn back out. I don't think I showed that, but it's like three turns out, and it's reading accurate. So if you push the door in anymore, she will want to kind of stall out a bit, which is perfect. So I know it's reading, and it's not ran all the way up. What else? No, I think that's about it. Yeah, I don't know if this is doing anything because I took the clip out. It's sitting on top of that battery, and I'll try it when it's dead cold, unplugged. But plugged or unplugged, it runs the same. That should bump up the idle, because it's basically introducing air into the system, and it'd be doing the same thing, basically taking out of the crankcase now and then pumping it into here. So with it not doing that, I don't know. And I also isolated the oil filler tube. It is disconnected back here, and I plugged that line. So this is just breathing into atmosphere. So I wanted to eliminate that, as far as also crankcase pressure boosting, say, a signal. And I can put that back, and that's not going to be an issue. Or it won't be an issue, but I'll do that whenever we get the new boot, because this one runs like a 90, and I'm probably going to get a new line. This is it's a little stretch for my liking, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But with that said, let me close out this video. I'm happy it runs now. I'm hoping it drives. Drive video will be the next video. We'll get it on the road once this boot comes in, and see what it can do. But yeah, eliminating things, I mean, I'm fine with it if you watch this channel long enough, as long as the results are going to be the same. Now, it might start a little weirder in the cold. Might have to crank it some more, but at the end of the day, it will crank, it will fire, it will drive. Some more of these vacuum lines I'm going to replace too, just to do it. But yeah, the more vacuum leaks you fix, the more troubles you kind of will create for yourself, I guess is what I'm getting at. So let me close this episode out, and join me for the next one, hopefully on the road, and hopefully with a good car, good running driving car, with weight reduction, minus parts. All right, guys, closing out this video on the 75 Super Fuel Edition. Right now, I am more than happy with the progress we made. I thought in the initial, opening of this, it was, we're going to change out some boots, and this thing's going to be, boom, amazing. Come to find out, you watch me, basically, if you watch this whole episode, thank you. But you watch me rack my brains on why we fix one thing and always, well, seem to develop 5 other issues. I've said throughout this entire video, these things are very vacuum leak sensitive. And lo and behold, well, if you did watch this, you'd see what I was going on about how finicky these things are. But with that said, I think new intake boot on here. I'm going to look around. I don't think I have a decel valve. I personally don't see it causing any issues. Yes, I know Volkswagen put them on for a reason, blah, 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 blah. They also use points, and they did have electronics back then. But anyway, it runs. It could start. I don't know if that idle air is doing anything. So when I fire it up, say tomorrow, or when it's completely cold, I'll see how long it takes to crank. If it's just going to crank a little longer and doesn't fire up immediately like most of my carbureted cars do, I'm going to call it fine, because what I said is with these cars, you can dump hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars keeping the fuel injection running. With the caveat, you can spend that much money keeping these things running. That's a given. It's more or less the fact that this is a revival and there's missing bits. So I can also add systems to this and it might not run right or it might run differently. Been in contact with the owner. He kind of knows what's going on, except he didn't call me back the last phone call. So if he watches this video first, he'll know what's going on. If not, he might talk to me and then I'll tell him what's going on. You know, good rapport I have. This is what I did. Anywho's, engine runs. I'm happy with it. It sounds good. Valves are adjusted. Tune-up's done. The only thing I'm down to is an air leak in my air hose. The only thing I'm down to is waiting on that boot. Put the boot on. Hopefully it's good. Well, it should run exactly the same. Drop it on the ground, take it for a drive, see what that does. Granted, I said that's all we were going to do with those boots, but I also said, hedge my bets, also said I had to get those boots on for further diagnostic. I mean, it was true. I just didn't realize there was going to be that much diagnostic involved with furtherness. But with that said, if you like my rambling, and however this video came out, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you do. I promise you we will chit-chat. As always, thanks for watching, and hopefully see you on the next one. For a nice running, driving, put on a boot, and just take a tootle around town video. That's what I'm going at. Calling it now. It's not going to happen.